Right, hi everybody. We're going to finish Unit 10 today. Remember last time we looked at the second conditional grammar, what if. And then today what we need to do is we need to look at the money vocabulary, and we're going to talk about moving to a new country. Alright, let's get into it. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we're going to go to page 65 and we're going to do the exercise there that is about money vocabulary. So have a look in your book and you will see 9 words and 9 definitions. And what you have to do is match the word with the definition. So number 1, to use your money to make a profit. Which word does that relate to? Invest. To use your money to make a profit. Invest. Okay, so just remember that if you're going to use it in the past tense, you have to change the word. Invest would be invested. Last year, I invested a lot of money in Samsung. Right, so what you need to do now is you need to stop this video. So just pause the video and you need to have a go at matching the words with the definitions. You can do it in your book or you can use this video and you can just write it down with your own notepad. So I'm going to stop talking for 10 seconds and I'm going to assume that you stop the video and you try to do the exercise. Ready? Go. Okay, so I'm going to assume that you have all tried to match the words and the definitions, and now we'll go through the answers. Okay, so number 2, to have enough money to pay for something. That is afford. To have enough money to pay for something. Finally, I could afford to buy the new guitar that I wanted. Okay, you can use it in the negative as well. I couldn't afford. I couldn't afford to go on holiday this year. That means to take a trip, by the way. All right, number 3, to get money from someone and promise to give it back to him or her later. This is borrow. To get money from someone and promise to give it back to him or her later. Can I borrow 10,000 won from you, please? I'll give it back to you tomorrow. Number 4. To use more money than you need to. You use more money than you need to. That is waste. Okay, you wasted your money. You used more than you needed to. Don't waste your money. Online shopping is usually cheaper than offline shopping. Don't waste your money by overspending in the shop. Number 5. To receive money for work that you do. That is earn. To receive money for work that you do. So you could use a question form. How much money do you earn? In your new job, how much money do you earn? Now that is actually a bit of a rude question. So you would only really use that with very close people, like your family or your very close friends. And then again, past tense. In my last job, I earned less than I earn in my current job. Okay, number 6, to receive money from someone who has died. That is inherit. Inherit. Inherit is the verb. Inheritance is the noun. So, to receive money from someone who has died, that is to inherit. Sometimes it's not money. Sometimes it's an object. I inherited my grandmother's house. So when my grandmother died, she gave me her house. But often it's also used about money. I inherited a lot of money because my father passed away. Number 7, to give someone some money for a short time, thinking he or she will give it back to you. Lend. So lend and borrow are very confusing for people. To lend is to give. To borrow is to take, is to receive. So to give someone money for a short time is to lend. I will lend you $50 as long as you give it back to me by the end of the week. To lend. Okay, number 8. To need to give someone money. That is owe. That means you need to give someone money. You have to. You owe them. My brother owes me a lot of money and he still hasn't paid me. Okay, and then number 9, to be priced. For example, $45. And that is the cost of something. To be priced. How much does it cost? My new cell phone cost me $1 million. Ooh, that's a lot of money. 1 million won. Okay, so those are the answers. Now, stop the video and practice with the money vocabulary worksheet that I have sent you on Smart Campus. Well, you don't have to stop the video, but you have to do the worksheet that I will send you that will practice the money vocabulary. Okay, so that is the first exercise in this PowerPoint video. And now we're going to move on to the next part. Here is the money vocabulary worksheet that I have shared with you. Now you can see this on the Word file that I've sent you. So what you can do is you can fill in the blanks and you can send it to me when you send me that assignment. Right, now the next thing we have to do is page 118, moving to a new country vocabulary. Okay, so again, there are some words in your book. Moving to a new country, page 118. Right, I'll read these words. A, immigration. The process in which people enter a country in order to live there. The noun, immigration. B, expatriate. Someone who lives in a country that is not their native country. So we usually shorten that word and we usually say expat. So someone who lives in a country that is not their native country. So that would be me. I am from England, but I live in Korea. So I am an expat. I am an expatriate. So you can often hear people say, living as an expat is quite challenging. C, citizen, someone who has the right to live permanently in a particular country. So you are all Korean citizens. I am a British citizen. D, fit in, to be accepted by a group of people. Okay, so if you move to a new place, and especially if you move to a new country, you want to fit in. You want to be accepted. If you move to a very liberal place or a place that has a lot of immigration, it is easier to fit in. If you move to somewhere where they are not used to foreigners, it can be hard to fit in. E, emigrate, verb. To leave your home country to live elsewhere. Okay, so emigrate, to leave. Immigrate is to enter. So emigrate. I emigrated last year. I left England and I moved to Korea. F, culture shock. The difficulty experienced when adjusting to life in a new country. Culture shock. So that's when the culture is quite different. Example, I got culture shock when I first came to Korea when I noticed that people eat different types of food. For example, bondegi. We don't eat that in England, so that could be a culture shock. G, settle down. To make yourself comfortable in a place is to settle down. It's a verb. So when I moved to Korea, it took me a few months to feel settled down. Settle down. H, custom, something people do that is traditional. A custom. So in Korea, it is a custom to bow when you meet somebody for the first time. Or if you are in a formal meeting, it is a custom to bow. In my country, it is a custom to shake hands. So the customs are different. Okay, so now we have looked at this vocabulary. In your book, there are some fill in the blank questions. So also stop the video and try to fill in the blanks of the questions on page 118. So please do that now. Okay, so I am going to assume that you have tried to do those questions, and now I'm going to give you the answers. Alright, so page 118, question 1. Heather gave a very interesting talk on life as an expat in Japan, expatriate. Number 2, after moving to Singapore, I had a few weeks to settle down before starting work. Okay, number 3. Susan and her family have decided to emigrate to New Zealand. Number 4. You need to be a citizen in order to receive financial aid from the government. Yeah. So if you want to get money when you are not working, you are between jobs, usually you have to be a citizen to get that money, that welfare. Number 5, it is the custom here to remove your shoes before entering someone's home. In the Western countries, some of them, you can wear your shoes in the house. But in Korea, the custom is to take off your shoes. Number 6, Jim tried hard to fit in with the local people, but he was never accepted. Right, so, in an extreme situation, people suffer racism, but for other reasons, it can be difficult to fit in. Number 7, a recent study showed that most Canadians support high levels of immigration. Canada is a massive country, isn't it? Size-wise, so they're trying to encourage immigration. They want more people. And number 8, the first time I went to Africa, I had culture shock. Life there was so different. Okay, so that is some more vocabulary for you. And now we're going to do one more exercise, and it is going to involve some writing practice. Writing practice on page 69. Right, so everybody, please look at page 69 and you're going to see this question. Imagine you lived in another country. How would your life be different? Look at the study guide to help you. Okay, so on page 69, this is the writing exercise. So below the reading part, we're not going to do the reading, it's the writing. And the study guide, there are 3 parts. Number 1, choose a country which you can imagine living in. Number 2 is think of 3 ways your life would be different. And the third part is what would you miss? And you have to make a list of 3 things. So you're going to leave Korea and you're going to live in another country. So number 1 is where would you live? Number 2 is think of 3 ways your life would be different. And the third part is what would you miss about Korea? Okay, so I have done an example. I am going to imagine I live in Thailand. So I left England to live in Thailand. And the 3 things that I will talk about, how my life will be different. I'm going to talk about public transport and moving around the country. I'm going to talk about the ocean, swimming and snorkeling. And I'm also going to talk about food, in particular fresh fruit. And then the 3 things I would miss football, I would miss English beer, and I would miss, believe it or not, I would miss something about the weather. I have to defend my country's weather. It has such a bad reputation. Okay, so here is an example paragraph. Unit 10, writing about living in another country, page 69. Here is my example paragraph, and I have separated it by colour. So number 1, if I lived in Thailand, my life would be very different. Now that is the grammar point. That is the second conditional. If I lived in Thailand, my life would be very different. And now the second part was, how would my life be different? Firstly, the public transport system isn't developed as England's, so it would take me longer to move around the country. For example, taking a bus from Bangkok to Chiang Mai might take 12 hours. Secondly, there are many beautiful islands and seas to swim in, so I think I could improve my swimming skill. I'd love to do more snorkeling and look at the colourful, interesting fish. Also, Thailand is famous for delicious fruit. Therefore, I could eat more healthy fruit or drink fruit shakes and juices every day. Right, so those are my three ways that my life would be different. And then the last part was, what would I miss about England? So I'm just going to read this. However, I would miss playing football in England, especially on nice grass fields. Drinking English ale, which is beer, which is often not exported to other countries. And also the pleasant, hot and sunny summer, which isn't as humid as Asia's summer and which allows us to hang out outside comfortably. Right, you can notice that I did that last part in one sentence. Okay, just to make it a little bit more concise, which means a little bit more shorter and easier to read. So this is one paragraph. You start with your country. You then talk about how your life will be different, and then you finish with what you would miss about living in Korea. Okay, everybody, so you need to do this. This is going to be the next participation assignment. This is going to be a homework assignment, and you can look at my instructions on Smart Campus about how to do this.